Sam here, United People's TV. Wasn't that snazzy? A nice intro. Quite a few of you have said that sometimes the streams start too early, sometimes the streams start too late. So I gave myself a nice intro to make it nice and smooth. How you doing today? It is Thursday, the 22nd of July. And this is a slightly different video to normal because there's no big, huge transfer story that I'm coming with you in terms of news. But there is a lot that I want to speak to you about in terms of Manchester United selling players, because as we all know, it's just as important for every football club every single summer to sell the right players as it is to buy the right players. And Manchester United, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got rid of plenty. Remember when he got rid of Fellaini as soon as he came into the club? And there are so many players this summer who are being linked with moves away from Man United. Right now, nobody has made any moves. But reports have always consistently said that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to sell players in order to fund new signings. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to have a nice debate. We're going to look at all the players who are linked with a move away from Manchester United, and you're going to let me know in the comments, as you always do, whether or not you think they should be staying or whether or not you think they should be sold. And we're going to compile a list, look at exactly who should be leaving, how much maybe we get for them. It'll be interesting. And I want to see that list at the end of it. And you're going to have a big input. It's going to be a very interactive show, as it always is. Now, as you know, throughout the show, you let me know where you're watching this from in the comments. I'll maybe add you onto the map. So you let me know the town you're watching from. And you let me know the country you're watching from. Throughout the show, keep leaving your comments. Keep firing in your super chats. If you would like to become a member of the channel, as you know by now, these are the new memberships that we launched a couple of days ago. You can do it on the bottom underneath. Sometimes people are having problems on the YouTube app. I don't know why. But if you do it on the desktop version, there's no problem. There's a join button there. You can become part of the family. And as I said, anybody who does become a member, you're really helping the channel grow because that money's going straight back into the channel. And if you're watching on Facebook, just go on the Facebook page, look at the top. There's a video there. Look at my lovely mug. There's a button underneath there, become a supporter. And also on this post, there should be a link in the description. But Man United's first team squad. Let's have a look at it because, look, it's huge. It's a big old squad we've got at the moment there. And there are lots of players who shouldn't really be there in that squad next season, in my opinion. And that's what I want to do with you. I want to run through them, discuss them, say whether you think that we should be keeping them or whether we should be selling them. And it'll be interesting. And the first person, of course, is David De Gea. As you can see from the thumbnail, from the title, David De Gea really is the biggest, I would say the biggest transfer story that Manchester United have this summer. We got Dean Henderson in on a big contract. He's staying at the club and he would not, and I've always repeated this, he would not have signed a contract with Manchester United if he wasn't given assurances that he was going to be number one next year. We've got JC, member, how you doing, JC, saying, please tell me we're selling Phil Jones. Oh, my God, I think he's literally impossible to sell. But we will certainly speak about Phil Jones later. Now, you let me know, so what you need to do in the comments, you need to say De Gea, keep or sell, and the price that you think he should be sold for if you do think he should be sold. Because on Transfermarkt here, it says 18 million, which for me seems ridiculous. And looking down here at the value chart that they've got it down. Let me see if I can zoom in. Probably make it easier for you to read. They're saying that right now, David De Gea is worth the same that when we signed him. 18 million. For me, that seems ridiculous. He's got a contract here until, I think, 2023. So look, 2023. So he's not going to be going out of contract anytime soon. But David De Gea, I've said it all along. I've said this seems like the right summer for David De Gea to be sold by Manchester United, both from a personal and a club perspective. I think from a club perspective, we've got Dean Henderson ready to come in and come through. And I think while he's not on the level of David De Gea yet, I think Dean Henderson can become an absolutely top draw goalkeeper. And I think that David De Gea this summer, because of his family, because of Ederm, because of his new child, it just seems right. But let me see what you think about this in the comments. Let's go down here. David De Gea sold, says Martin Baker, 50 million. 35 million for De Gea, says ditto. Bogdan, you disagree. You say definitely keep. Peter, you're saying sell 30 million. Colin, you're saying sell. Malps, you're saying loan one of them. Right, let's have a look. A few more comments come firing in here. Craig Peterson, how you doing, Craig? Joined the family yesterday. New member. How you doing, my friend Craig? Hi, Sam. How can Man United miss Donnarumma on a free? Because we didn't want him. Simple as that. If we wanted him, we would have been in for him. I'm not sure we could have offered what PSG would have offered. But looking at these comments, look, JF Master Flash saying De Gea is like the Yapstam conundrum. I don't really think it's similar in that sense because the Yapstam famously fell out with Fergie. De Gea's not fallen out with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. There's no one really saying that De Gea's done anything bad. That he hasn't been anything but professional this whole way through. But it's just that I don't think, for me, I think De Gea is going to be sold. I personally think De Gea is going to be sold. I'm going to put him down here. And judging by the values I'm seeing here, obviously, Ben, you're right. 375 grand for De Gea a week is way too much money, but that's because we gave him a ridiculous contract. And that's our own fault. And United, let's be honest, are very bad at giving players ridiculous contracts, a.k.a. Phil Goddamn Jones. But De Gea, there's absolutely no way that De Gea is only worth 18 million euros. That I can get stuffed. What I actually think will happen this summer is I think David De Gea will be loaned out with an obligation to buy. I don't know where to, but it strikes me as that's probably what's going to happen. I don't really think that we're going to be selling him for big bucks this summer because of, so I'm going to say loan with, I don't know, let's say a 4 million fee obligation to buy. That's what I think will happen. If De Gea is going to be leaving this summer, I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think anyone's going to go and buy him outright this summer. But I do not think that Dean Henderson would have signed that contract unless he had assurances that he was going to be number one next year. And therefore, David De Gea is not going to be a backup goalkeeper. That just won't happen. You got HP, you're saying loaning De Gea would be the worst idea. And there's a lot of clubs that do this now. They do loan deals with an obligation to buy. It's a way of stretching out the whole transfer. Rather than they're paying up front now, they can extend it over a year. And given that the pandemic's happened, it will be a smarter way for clubs to operate, I suppose. But looking here, like Marshall, you're saying keep David De Gea. You're saying Paul, you're saying sell Henderson, keep De Gea. Look, if selling Henderson was a possibility, he wouldn't have signed a new deal. That's my own opinion. You might disagree with that, but judging from the comments, and I knew it was going to be this case, it's very much split on David De Gea. Because if we look in here, let's go back to the goalkeepers list. We just bloody signed Tom Heaton on a free. So something is going to be happening with these goalkeepers. Lee Grant, I don't know what he does. He's a painter decorator. He's a canteen cleaner. I don't know what he does at Manchester United. I really don't. I genuinely don't. But he's there as a fourth choice goalkeeper. I think get him off the books, it's a waste of money. It's a complete waste of money. I think it's basically been a waste of money since he came in. No offense to Lee Grant, but he's just done nothing at Manchester United. And we've got 4 goalkeepers on the books. And the fact that we brought another one in, again, tells me that something is happening this summer. And if I'm looking at the long-term future of Manchester United, I think it's Dean Henderson. David De Gea has been here for, what, 10 years now? Roughly. No, in fact, yeah, shit. So he's going to get a testimonial. And so a few of you are saying that he's been treated harshly in the comments. It's a tough situation, but Manchester United are in a privileged position where we can actually sell David De Gea, and we've already got Dean Henderson right there. I've said it before. If you go from where Manchester United previously replaced goalkeepers, and you look from between Schmeichel and Van der Sar, it was a long list of who's of crap goalkeepers, of Bosniches and Taibis and Howards, and I don't even know, Barthez was all right. But Manchester, because we've got Dean Henderson, I think we should take advantage of it and bring him in. So on my list here, no, not everyone's going to agree with this, but I think De Gea being loaned, HP6, you're saying David De Gea has done nothing wrong. Yeah, sure. I'm not saying David De Gea has done anything wrong, but this is football. Football's cutthroat, and it's not a case of being romantic and being as nice to David De Gea as we can possibly be. The guy's on 375 grand a week, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not have too much sympathy for him. he would happily stay probably at the club next year and just chill. It's our own fault for making him a ridiculously overpaid player. It is what it is. Look, I think we can argue all day on this. In my opinion, I think it would be smart for Manchester United to get him off the books. And I think that would only happen this summer with a loan deal, because I don't really think that any club's going to go big on De Gea. And that's why I'm saying a loan deal with an obligation to buy. Looking at the other goalkeepers, I don't think Lee Grant's going to go anywhere. I don't think anyone wants Lee Grant. I think I want Lee Grant. But anyway, David De Gea, let's move on from him and we'll talk about him all day. Moving down to the defenders, Victor Lindelof, he's going nowhere. Victor Lindelof will be staying here. Victor Lindelof will be fighting for that position, hopefully with Varane next season, and let's see what happens. Eric Bailly, he's just signed a new contract. He's going to get another season. I don't think United should have given him that new contract. But again, it is what it is. Manchester United and player contracts have been poor, like this bloke here. Let me zoom in on that face. No offense, Phil. Let me zoom in on that face. My God. Has there ever been a worse... I don't know the best way to describe Phil Jones. Remember that Fergie said, literally compared him to Duncan Edwards when he was 21. He said, look, you can play everywhere. I think that year he came in, he was playing in midfield against Arsenal alongside, I can't remember who was alongside. But you looked at him at that point and everyone was like, rah, we've actually got a player here. And then the injuries happened and they kept happening and they kept happening and they kept happening and they kept happening. I can repeat this all day. And they kept happening. And Phil Jones is just I don't know. I'm sick and tired of it. But apparently the only reason we can't get rid of Phil Jones is because no one wants Jones. So Jones is obviously on my go list. Get out of my clubs. But who's going to play him? I'm going to put £2.99 with a pack of Tangfastics. Anybody gives that, they can have Phil Jones. Has to be Tangfastics though, right? You've got to get a nice little sweet sour. But no one wants him. No one wants him. He's got a great contract. He's not going to be leaving. He's not going to force a move. Why would he force a move? He's happy where he is. So therefore, Manchester United, I don't know what they have to do, but it's reaching the point with Phil Jones where we should just pay him off and just get him out of the club. He just shouldn't be there. He should not be there anymore. And it's just, I don't know. It's exactly like Monique is saying there. Just release him. I think that releasing him is at this point is probably going to be the better thing. Absolutely the better thing to do, because he shouldn't be there. He should not be there. Before I move on, make sure if you're new here and you're new in town, welcome to United People's TV. Make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe as well. We're here every day, Monday to Friday, and there's going to be plenty more coming over the season. So you want to be here. It's going to be exciting. If you want to become a member, hit that join button below. There's 3 membership levels. Anything you can contribute through there, it's only going to get put back into the channel. We're going to be having some new stuff soon. We're going to have a podcast launching soon. We've got some merchandise coming out. That's going to be exciting. Might have a new setup as well. It's all going to get very exciting, very good, and very better. So if you can become a member, it really helps the channel grow. And as I said, anything that comes through the memberships is only going to go back into the channel. But Phil Jones, as I said, £2.99 and a pack of Tangfastics, and I'll be happy. Harry Maguire, he's going nowhere. Best defender we've got at the club. Maybe that'll be different when Raphael Varane comes in. That's going to be down to your own opinion. But there's plenty of conversations to really have about the rest of the defence, isn't there? Diogo Dalot. Now, he's been linked heavily with a move to AC Milan. He was also linked to Real Madrid. Ancelotti apparently a big fan of Diogo Dalot. But nothing is happening there at this particular moment in time. AC Milan is where he spent a year on loan last season. Obviously, he impressed. But with Dalot, I think there's no point in loaning him out again. I think any player that gets loaned out twice, it's just pointless. It's absolutely pointless. You're not helping that player. You're not helping us. I think that you should just be, if you're either going to sell Dalot or you're going to keep Dalot. And if we're looking at backup right backs, I don't really think that Dalot is someone who can teach Aaron Wan-Bissaka anything. And I think that's probably why and I said this before, it's why Alex Telles was an important signing for sure, because he was a top-down signing. He wasn't a young and up-and-coming kid who was biting at the heels of Luke Shaw. He was someone who was older and established, and Luke Shaw sort of raised his game at that point. I think that's what we need in terms of a backup to Wan-Bissaka, and that for me is why I don't think Dalot really suits us. Ian Hatton on YouTube, you're saying Diogo Dalot is a good player and I want to keep him as a right back. He offers something different to AWB. Don't see why we get Trippier. I don't think we're going to get Trippier for, what is it, 30 million, the absolute ridiculous amount that we're getting linked with. You've got Raphael over on YouTube as well saying, I still feel we need to keep Dalot. He could be the attacking option at right back that we so need. He is young and he can improve. So maybe it's going to be another loan spell. But as I said, I personally think that any loan spell now, I think it spells the end of him, Manchester United, so you may as well say it. Got Hisham with a comment saying, I miss your short videos and transfers. Don't worry, ladies and gents. I know at the moment that I'm only doing the live videos Monday to Friday, but these short transfer videos, the short videos that I do, they're going to be coming back in as well. And this is what I mean when I say just join, become a member, because it gives me the opportunity to maybe bring a video editor in that I can then help do these videos at the same time as doing all the live videos, because it's very time consuming to do it all. I don't have enough time. And that's why I want to say, that's why I keep pushing the memberships. And that's why I said, but I'm going to make the channel bigger and better. It's stuff like that. I want to go back to doing my short videos as well as doing these live videos, because I really enjoy these interactive ones. But judging from the comments here, the majority of you are saying keep it. Manuel, how you doing, Manuel? OG, saying sell Diogo. He needs first squad games and doesn't deserve to be a sub at this age. But AWB all day long. Of course, no one's saying that Dalot should go in ahead of him. But in my opinion, I think Dalot will probably be loaned again this year. I think we're going to see Diogo Dalot loaned out. I'll probably say maybe a 2 mil loan fee. I think that's probably fair. Phil Jones, obviously we're getting £2.99 with a pack of Tanfastics for Phil Jones. And I genuinely think that a loan move with an obligation to buy is the smartest thing that we could do with David De Gea this summer. I don't think anyone's going to go in big and try and sign him this summer because of the pandemic, and because I don't think actually any club really properly needs a goalkeeper like that, apart from maybe AC Milan now that Donnarumma's left. Don't know about that. But moving on to another player who's been linked with a move away, and that is Alex Telles, which is kind of a bit surprising. Inter Milan have been linked with a move for him. AS Roma, he'd been linked with a move for Telles. Obviously, Jose Mourinho there. You let me know what you think about... Sorry. You let me know what you think about Alex Telles. Do you think Alex Telles should be kept, or should he be loaned out, or should he be sold? You let me know what you think in the comments there. But I'd be very, very surprised if Manchester United were to let Alex Telles go. Whether that would be on a loan, on a permanent deal. I know that Alex Telles didn't really impress as much as we all wanted and as much as we all expected last summer, did he? I think Alex Telles was somebody who came in as a proper established Champions League quality left back, and he got left in the mud. Absolutely left in the mud when Luke Shaw just accelerated ahead of him. And it was surprising, really. Kind of surprising, but at the same time, surely Man United would weaken the squad by letting Telles go this summer. Let's see what you say in the comments here. Marshall, you're saying Telles go in nowhere. JD, you're saying keep Telles and play him in the cup games. Alois Jobs on Facebook, you're saying we should keep him. Monique, you're saying Telles stays. No chance he goes. 1,000% he stays. Look, we all agree. We all agree on that one. Alex Telles should be going absolutely nowhere. And I completely agree with you. There's other fullbacks that we can certainly be looking to get rid of ahead of him. And it's not Aaron Wan-Bissaka, of course. Brandon Williams is someone who's been linked with a move to Southampton, I believe. On loan, they're looking at a loan fee of around 2 million. So I think would that be to cover his wages, or would that just be a loan fee on top of the wages? Not completely sure on that. But I think we all completely agree on Alex Telles. And I'll be interested to see if we all completely agree on Brandon Williams. Because in my opinion, I think Brandon Williams is something we can let go on loan this year. When he broke through into the team, that was a time where we really didn't have... Luke Shaw was a bit up and down at left back. Was it Wan-Bissaka was there? I'm not sure if Wan-Bissaka was signed at that point. And we needed new fullbacks at that point. We weren't anywhere near as established as we are now. But unfortunately for Brandon Williams, I don't think he's really built on that. I don't think he's built on the success that he had through his breakthrough. And he actually played kind of completely different to to how he played in the academy. He was far more aggressive, far more industrial going forward for the academy than he was for the first team. Let's see what you think in the comments, though. We've got Ian Houghton. You're saying Williams, I would consider a loan. He's young and a homegrown player. Can play down the left and down the right too. Manuel, you're also saying loan with a buy option. Although his position is right back, we played him as a left back. He can play both. He really can play both. Moses, you're saying loan. Brandon, that boy is talented. He's definitely the future, right? Okay, we've got a big fan there. And Fat Thor, I recognise you. You've been here. How you doing, Fat Thor? Loan Williams, he needs to play more regularly to continue his development. So we can all agree on that one, I think, there. Let's go down here. We'll say that Brandon Williams loaned out. I would probably say a 2 mil loan fee. That seems reasonable for Brandon Williams. And I completely agree with you that he does need first-team football. There comes a point with every young player where they just need those minutes. It doesn't matter about the fact that they're at a big club, because just sitting on the bench doesn't help them. They need minutes. And I think Brandon Williams absolutely falls into that category. Keep firing your comments in, by the way, everyone. If you're watching on Facebook, come on, drop a like on the video. Share it. Engage in it. If you can on YouTube, fire in your super chats and your comments and your questions. If you want to join as a member, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. Let's go back to it. Brandon Williams there. Now, Axel Tuanzebe. Now, I've seen quite a few places saying that Axel Tuanzebe wants a loan deal. And I really, really feel sorry for him, because I'm pretty convinced that if his injuries didn't stunt him last year, he would have properly established himself as the partner to Harry Maguire. I'm pretty convinced of that. Out of all the centre-backs we had at the club last year, Axel Tuanzebe was the player who mixed athleticism with quality on the ball. He had like the best attributes of Bailly and the best attributes of Lindelof and blended them together. And I think he would have really partnered Harry Maguire fantastically well. But injuries really, really blighted him. He was great at Villa. That's why he earned the credit to come into this Manchester United team. But I just don't think he's going to get those opportunities now. And I can understand why Axel Tuanzebe would want a loan away. But for me, if he does leave on loan, that's the end of his United career. I don't think that Tuanzebe has a chance of being loaned next year for a full season and to come back and establish himself in Manchester United. And that's why I'm saying injuries of blight. Then there's so many youngsters, there's so many kids that you could say that about. And I think, unfortunately, for Axel, it strikes me as his opportunity to establish himself as Manchester United centre-back has now passed, because we are going to hopefully sign Rafael Varane this summer. Therefore, it's Varane and Maguire. And then that's the best centre-back partnership Manchester United have had for a long, long time, and that won't be broken up. Yeah, it's a real sucker. It's a real sucker, because I remember watching Tuanzebe and is it Roshan Williams back when he was in the under-18s and the night. He was a cracking player, man. A really good top-level centre-back. And you saw it when he was, I think he was alongside Tyrone Mings at Villa when they got promoted. He's a great centre-back. Great's a bit strong, but he has the ability to be a great centre-back. I just personally don't think it is going to be at Manchester United. But let me see what you think about Tuanzebe here in the comments. Tuanzebe is better than Lindelof. Lindesoft, says Jermaine. Well, fair enough. We've got JD, you're saying we should loan it out to Tuanzebe. We already have Maguire and Lindelof. We are heavily linked with Varane already. Yet he wants first-team football. Look, Ian, Axel still has Mbappe in his pocket. I want him to grow. Maybe a loan like Villa is best for him. Look, everyone remembers that game when he got thrown in at the deep end away at PSG, and he was fantastic, wasn't he? He really was fantastic. All right, look, Monique saying OGS is a huge fan of Axel. We might be loaned out. We will definitely come back. I personally feel that if Tuanzebe does leave on loan, I don't think he'll come back. That's my own opinion. I just don't really see players leaving on two different loan spells and then coming back. Of course, there are examples of it. But I think Jesse Lingard certainly had a few loan spells before he broke through. But let's see. Got Anuj. Thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. Anuj saying, good morning. Teller should definitely stay. Shaw played the last few games of the Euros with broken ribs, so we can't take any chances. Sancho announcement. Sancho. Jeez. Sancho's not happening. But yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with there. I've got Lackvinder saying, don't agree with your loan comment. Henderson was loaned out 4 times and is now our number 1. A Premier League loan will help players for sure. Cool. Fair enough then. Look, I'm not saying that I'm completely fucking right, because I'm definitely not. I'm wrong quite a substantial amount of times. But in my own opinion, I think we can all agree on this. But a loan spell suits. Again, I'm going to put 2 mil loan fee, because I think that the 2 mil loan fee seems to be a reasonable expectation for a player in the Premier League. Axel Tuanzebe is clearly good enough to be playing in the Premier League. Let's see what happens there. But look, I would love to be proven wrong about Axel Tuanzebe. And you've used the example there of Dean Henderson having loads of loan spells and then coming back and now might be establishing himself as United's number one. I hope I'm wrong. I really, really hope I'm wrong. Let's see what happens. But yeah, I don't expect to have Axel Tuanzebe at the club next year. He's got too much ambition. Injuries really did not help him, and it sucks for him. Teden Mengi is somebody who's a bit younger, a bit rawer, and I don't think that we'll be letting Teden Mengi go out on loan anytime soon. I don't think maybe not next year, maybe a year after, but for me, Teden Mengi strikes me as a player who would benefit more from being in and around Manchester United and being in the setup of the club rather than going out on loan. I don't know, though. Maybe he'll be going to loan to Derby. Maybe Rooney will take him there. You can let me know what you think about that, but I think the Teden Mengi thing is quite straightforward. Now, in quite the opposite sense of straightforward, there's a lot of conversations to be had down here. And of course, the big one. The absolute big one. We've had plenty of debates already about Paul Pogba and whether or not we should be keeping him at the club. And not only that as well, but I'm sorry, it's thirsty work here, being so good at talking about Man United. It's thirsty work. But Paul Pogba, it's such a delicate situation that Manchester United might almost not be able to make the decision. It's like the decision might be already made for us. But you let me know in the comments, Pogba, do you keep or sell? And if you sell, what's the price you think we're going to get for Paul Pogba this summer? Because if we head over to, I wonder what transfer market have got the value of Paul Pogba at. Obviously, the problem that we've got with Paul Pogba, the problem that Real Madrid have got with Rafael Varane, the problem that Bayern Munich have with Leon Goretzka is they've all got 1 year left on their deal. So therefore, their value is diminished somewhat. Let me see what transfer marks have him down value-wise. Let's go over here. 60 million. Transfer marks are saying that Paul Pogba is worth 60 million in the current market. Now, we paid, what, 90? I think we paid 90. Sorry if it's skipping a little bit. I'm not going to load this website anymore. This website is ridiculously slow. My computer down. That's what happens when you got a ton of adverts on your website. Unlike the People's Person, very nice and smooth. 60 million euros, they are saying. I'm closing that. Get off my computer. Thank you very much. And let me see what you think about Pogba in the comments here. Now, this is definitely going to be one of the most interesting ones. And as always, keep firing in your comments. Please keep firing in your super chats as well. Always support and help the channel. And become a member if you can. No one's become a member today. We need some new members. Come on, join in. Let me see what you're saying in the comments, though. Right. Ian Houghton saying new deal or sell 60 million, bring in Camavinga. Camavinga, I tell you what, that went very, very quiet, didn't it? Very, very quiet, given that we were all of a sudden linked. And it's like, oh, it's really, really advanced. And all of a sudden, it's just disappeared off the face of the earth. Big Cash, you're saying Pogba sell at 60 million. Martin Baker, you're saying sell 45. Nana, you're saying keep. Alexis, you're saying keep. Colin Gregg, you're saying 58 mil. Let's have a look down here. Sell Pogba says, Craig, we need new storylines. Let's have a look down here. 60 million says Charlie. Sorry, for some reason, I just completely forgot your name. A billion says Richard. Yeah, go on in. Sell Pogba and then buy Man United. That'll do. In my opinion, and bear in mind, this is just an opinion, I think Paul Pogba will stay. And the only reason I would say that he's going to stay is the only reason he would stay is if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can convince him to sign a new contract. Because I suppose that's the faith that Manchester United as a football club will have to put into Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this summer. Because if he doesn't, then we lose Paul Pogba for free. A player who would be worth, as all the comments fairly say, 50, 60 mil, I think is a fair amount for Paul Pogba. it's our own fault for letting the contract run down. He's not a 50, 60 million player. He's way more than that, especially when you're looking at Declan Rice getting a ridiculous amount banded next to his name. But at the same time, I could easily see Paul Pogba being sold this summer. I really, really could. And this is what I'm saying. This is why it's such a difficult situation with Paul Pogba. Because there's only two scenarios here. It's either he stays and signs a new contract or he gets sold this summer. And it's whether or not Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believe that he will sign that new contract. I'm sure the conversations are going down with Mino Raiola, with his agent, with everybody. But right now, I think Paul Pogba will stay. That's my own opinion. I think Paul Pogba will stay. And as I can see in the comments, there's so many of you that want him to go. But at the same time, there's so many of you that want him to stay. And as I've said before, and I'll say it again, you can't go and sign players like Sancho and Varane and then let players like Pogba go. It's a bit of a contrast. You want to be keeping your best players in the squad. And Paul Pogba is easily one of the best players. Juan Mata, he's staying on a 1-year new contract. I personally don't think that should have been done. I think Juan Mata should have been sold this summer. I'd much rather see more minutes going to someone like Donny van der Beek than Juan Mata. My own opinion. Jesse Lingard, now there's a player who could be sold. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, after the game against Derby, said that Jesse Lingard was in his plans for this season. Do you think he should be in the plans? Or do you think Jesse Lingard should be sold? If you do think that Jesse Lingard should be sold, you let me know in the comments. Lingard, sell, and how much do you think we can get for Jesse Lingard? In my own opinion on Lingard, I think it's a case that, for me, it's a case that Jesse Lingard should be sold this summer. I don't think his value is going to be going higher. I think right now Jesse Lingard we'd be doing him a disservice by keeping him at the club next year and just using him for 10, 20 games. Look at that, Victorim. How you doing, Victorim, my friend? What's happening? Just joined. How are you doing? I hope work was all right. Nice to see you join in the comments, my friend. Let me see what you think about Lingard. Annie's saying, no, Lingard is purple patch man. He is purple patch man, but when he's in a purple patch, I tell you what, he's fantastic. Ian Houghton, you're saying Jesse needs to play. He shouldn't stay on the sidelines for us. West Ham showed he can do it. I want him to go. 1 year left, maybe 20 million. Let the boy go. And I personally, let me look down the comments. I'll read a few more of your comments coming out. Aaron Aker, how you doing? Member of the family saying, sell Lingard to West Ham for 30 mil. James to Leeds for 15 and discard Pereira. We'll speak about Pereira coming up next. GG Ditto says, sell J Links for 30 mil because he won't be starting. He should be a regular starter somewhere else. Look, I think we're all in kind of pure agreement there in that Jesse Lingard absolutely deserves to play regular first team football. And I think 25 million. I think sold for 25 million is probably a fair estimation of what we could expect for Jesse Lingard. Got a comment here from Matt GP. How you doing, Matt? Nice to see you. If he doesn't wish to stay, there's no use keeping him. Liverpool sold Coutinho. Are you talking about Pogba? Liverpool sold Coutinho, who everyone said was indispensable. Same story with Pogba, just a luxury player who can be replaced by a hard worker. I think we will struggle to replace Paul Pogba, if I'm being completely honest. I think he's probably one of those irreplaceable players. But Jesse Lingard, for me, if we're looking at how we did the dirty on Sergio Romero when we kept him. He was supposed to be joining Everton, but Everton didn't want to pay the loan fee, and therefore he just sat on the bench the whole year instead of playing regular first-team Premier League football with Everton, and then he left on a free. I think we did Sergio Romero a massive dirty with that, and I think we'd be doing Jesse Lingard a dirty as well if we don't give him the move this summer. I think Jesse Lingard he should be going to someone like Arsenal. I think he deserves a bigger stage. I think Jesse Lingard showed at West Ham. Look, if England didn't have Phil Foden, Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Bukayo Saka, like the most ridiculously talented front wingers, Jesse Lingard easily would have gone to the Euros. But it's because we were so stacked in that position that he just didn't get the opportunity. And I just personally think that he deserves a good send-off by United, and a good send-off for me would be selling Lingard this summer. Don't keep him. I don't care if you want him as part of your plans. I think it's unfair on the kid. And I would much personally rather have the 30 million as well, because we've got Ahmad. He should be playing there instead of Jesse Lingard. Dan James showed at the Euros that he can play, and he probably should be playing on the left instead of the right. But Andreas Pereira, I think we're all going to pretty much agree on this. It's just the price you think it is. Andreas Pereira should be sold. Andreas Pereira, that ship has well and truly sailed. He's not going to make it as a Manchester United central midfielder. He's had plenty of opportunities, but he went on loan. Was it to Lazio? I think he went on loan to Lazio. He's been bigging Lazio up. He wants to move back to Lazio. But how much do you think Andreas Pereira would be sold for? You let me know in the comments and I'll read a few of them out. But yeah, Andreas Pereira is just somebody that we just need to get off the books. He's definitely not going to have a career at Manchester United in the long term. There was a point where he came through and he looked decent and he looked all right, but Andreas Pereira unfortunately just never built on that. He couldn't bring the consistency to his game, which is basically what you need to be a Manchester United player. And Andreas Pereira just doesn't have that in his locker, in my own opinion. Let's see what you think about that. We've got Pereira and Ian Houghton. You're saying 10, just a tenner. It's a bit harsh. I think it's worth more than a tenner there, mate. Big Cash, you're saying sell for 10 mil at least. Shamil, you're saying 8. Lee, you're saying 10. Charlie, you're saying 10 to 15 mil. Shiv Prasad, you're saying 12 mil. Clearly talented, never had the consistency. Look, I think you're completely right. Aaron Aker, you're disagreeing. You're saying 5 mil. Get him out of here. Thomas on Facebook, you're saying 15 to 20. Junior on Facebook, 20. Look, we're all in complete agreement there on Andreas Pereira. And I'll tell you what, I'll call it a middle ground. I'd say Andreas Pereira for 12 mil. 12 mil. Sold for 12 mil. Look at that. Imagine we did that. We sold Lingard and Pereira for a total of 37 mil between them. That's Ruben Neves for free. Well, not literally for free, but getting rid of Lingard and Pereira and having Neves. Yes, please. Yes, please. Before I quickly move on, I'll say it one more time. Sorry if I keep spamming it, but it's so important to me to take the channel upwards. If you would, join the channel as a member, get involved. It's a really big way you can support the channel. Any money that comes in is only going to get put back into the channel to make it bigger and better. On YouTube, there's a join button just below. There's a link in the description. If it doesn't work on the app, you can do it on desktop. And over on Facebook, there's a pinned video at the top of the page with a support now button. Just click that and come through. It's cheaper than the price of a pint. And it will make such a difference to have all of you as members. And as a Discord group, I want to get you all in there. And it's good fun. But let's move on from Andreas Pereira. And look, I think Andreas Pereira is probably the first one that we've all really 100% just agreed with. No arguments there. Fred, though. Move on to Fred. Fred's going nowhere. I genuinely do think... Sorry, one sec. I do think that Fred is a good central midfielder. I think he's a good squad player. I think we should be keeping Fred. You saw with Brazil at Copa America, he got to the final and he had excellent performances in midfield alongside Casemiro. I think Fred should be staying. He shouldn't be playing every single game next year for Manchester United, and that depends on us signing players. But Martin Baker, I would disagree with you. I don't think Fred should be going anywhere. I think Fred is a good squad player. That's what I think. We've got Marshall saying far-fetched thought, but sign competitor, improving squad depth, get rid of bench warmers. P.S. Don't want lives happen to us. I don't know what you've just said there, Marshall. If I'm being completely honest, I don't understand that comment. I'll get you added onto the map at some point soon, though, sir. From Bidar in India. Look, lots of you here saying, look, Mogo, you're saying Fred should not be for sale. Good squad player. Fred, keep him for a season. Keep. Jadon Sancho, what are you doing there, mate? Can you not just be announced by Manchester United? Get out of my comment section. We've got Craig saying keep Fred, sell Matic. Look, Bruno Fernandes is going nowhere. Amad Diallo is going nowhere. We don't have to waste our time speaking about either of them. Daniel James is a debate I think we can probably have. You let me know in the comments. With Daniel James, I want you to let me know now. Dan James, keep or sell. Explain why and the price that you think he should be sold for. That's a comment. That's a conversation that we can definitely have. Victor Im, how you doing, my friend? I hope work was good to you today. Thank you very much for your super chats and your constant support for the channel, man. United need to sell the deadwood so bad, but I'm annoyed that United are not doing anything. We are slow on transfers, ins and outs. We must sell to fund money. And that's why I think it's important that we do this video. That's why I think it's important that we have this conversation and we genuinely look at this list at the end of it and we go, right, how much are we going to have? Well, we've obviously got Phil Jones leaving. He's got Pakistan Fastics coming in. That'd be tasty. But how much can Man United realistically look to bring in to fund player signings because there's a lot in this squad. There's a lot of bloat in this squad. I only got down here, but there's a lot of bloat. It's a huge squad. There's definitely players that should be sold. But let me look at the comments here about what you think on Dan James. Now, this is certainly going to be an interesting one. And let me see what you say. Benz, you're saying Dan James, 21 today. We need more players who can add width. He's young and would be happy as a squad player. Yeah, I think he would certainly be happy as a squad player. Lands, you're saying DJ, loan him out. Craig Peterson saying loan him Dan out to Leeds. Man United, too big a club for him. Remember how good he was when he started, and then he obviously fell off. Got Lackvinder saying keep James a bench player. Last 10 minutes against tired legs. Mohammed, you're saying Dan James should be sold. Mohammed deserves more minutes under the belt and at least more than DJ. 25 to 30 million would be all right for James. Yeah, it would be all right. I don't think we're going to get that much for him, even if he does leave. Victorim, you're saying keep James. He's a good squad player, and Ollie is happy with him. He does a lot of defensive work when he plays. In my opinion, and there's loads of comments coming in here, so keep firing your comments in and keep firing your super chats like Victorim does to keep supporting the channel, ladies and gents. I think Dan James should be staying. I think Dan James will be staying at Manchester United next season. And I think he showed at the Euros that he has to play on the left-hand side. He actually was a left winger before we signed him. When we signed him from Swansea, that's where he operated. It's just that we used him as a right winger because we didn't have a right winger. I think next season, if we see Dan James play on the left, and obviously Marcus Rashford's going to be missing the first couple of months of the season, I think Dan James can do a job in this squad. I would say Dan James is to the winger positions at Manchester United what Fred is and what Fred should be to the central midfield positions. I don't think Fred or James should be the absolute starters for Manchester United, but would I consider them strong squad players? Yeah, I would. And Man United are going to be competing in a lot of competitions next year. And while someone like Jesse Lingard, I wouldn't be happy to see him stagnate and sit on the bench just as a squad option. Dan James, I'm happy to. He's young enough. He's in a good position. He knows his strengths. I think Dan James can certainly do a job in this squad next year. And I don't think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to be letting him go, in my own opinion. But as I said, looking down here, look, David O'Grady, Dan James is perfect for Leeds, not us. Obviously, suits that intense counter-pressing style that Leeds have and Leeds do so well. And that's why Marcel Bielsa wanted him and still wants him. Victor here with another comment saying, Sam, any movement on Neves or same as yesterday? There's not much movement, I'll be honest, Victor, on Neves or Varane or Trippier or Goretzka or Nigget. There's not really any major movement on any signings, which is exactly why I've decided to do this video today on looking at the actual players who should be leaving Manchester United, because I think it's equally as important to know about the deadwood that's leaving. And given that there's no real major updates on the signings, I thought it was important to talk about this. But looking from the comments, it's a big split. It's a big split on whether or not he should stay or should go. But for me, I don't think we'll be letting Dan James go. And I'm rather than just doing this on my opinion, I'm actually doing it on what I think will happen. Like Facundo Pellistri, he clearly impressed in that game against Derby. He was exciting. He showed great footwork. He showed why we signed him, I suppose. He's an exciting, young, raw player. Spent the season out on loan at Deportivo Alaves, I think, last year in the Liga. Will he go straight back there? He wants to. And I think we should be letting him go. Look, I'm sure he could do exciting things, but if I'm going to be choosing which exciting young winger I'm playing, I'm going to be playing Ahmad. He spent this season with United last year. He scored that cracking goal. Was it against AC? Little header, in his first appearance at Old Trafford. Ahmad, I think, can certainly excite us next year. And I think Ahmad learning underneath Jadon Sancho, that's going to be really exciting to see how he learns from Sancho. And bear in mind, Sancho's only 21 anyway. But I think Facundo Pellistri, I think he's... Look, Ahmad right there is that's exactly what I want to happen. I want to see Facundo Pellistri going on loan to a championship team, because the championship is such a competitive, loaned out championship. It's such a competitive league. I'm not even sure if we get a loan fee for him. Let's go 1 mil. It's such a competitive league that it would certainly help Facundo Pellistri learn and grow as a player. And I conspiracy theory, Victor Rim is really Sam, says Josh. I like that comment. I really do like that comment. Yeah, I've got my alter ego coming in and dropping super chats to inspire everyone. Nah, Victor Rim is just an absolute G from out in Australia who's really supporting the channel, and I really appreciate everything that he does. And I can't wait to get the channel bigger and better because of all the things that Victor Rim is helping to make happen. But yeah, Pellistri, as we can see here, Pellistri's been on loan in the league, getting a Prem team. I think he's going to be staying on loan in England, and I think a championship would suit him a little bit better. My own opinion, but Pellistri is certainly out on loan. Now, Nemanja Matic, if we had more midfielders, I would be politely showing Nemanja Matic the door. But because we just don't have enough options in midfield, I just can't see Nemanja Matic leaving this summer, if I'm being completely honest. I think he should, but he won't. And that's down to a lack of other options. My own opinion there. You might disagree. And I'll see what you think about Matic in the comments. Benson here. Obviously, I don't think this will ever happen. Matic out on loan. How old is Matic? He's 144. He doesn't want a loan spell. Matic knows that he's not going out on loan. Matic won't be leaving on loan. Victor Im saying, imagine that good one. It was a very good comment. That's what made me laugh. It really did make me laugh. And Victor Im really is me. Sorry, Sam, did I see that De Gea's buying fee for only 4 mil? No, I put down a loan fee of 4 mil for David De Gea. 4 mil loan fee. Because as I said, I think this summer, personally, I think that David De Gea should be leaving. And I think Dean Henderson wouldn't have signed that contract if he wasn't told that he was going to be number one. And I think a loan with an obligation to buy probably suits the market more than expecting somebody to come in with the big money for David De Gea, which I don't think will happen this summer. Well, coming in from Aranika. Aranika, he is. Big up to you, squad member, super chat saying Pellistri and Garner should be loaned out. Sell James 15 to 20 million and give Ahmad a chance. James has pace, but his ball control is terrible. There's not a lot that I would disagree with there. I think that James's ball control can be terrible. It's a bit like Rashford's shooting can be terrible when he's got too much time to think about it. But James has showed in the Euros, like there wasn't many players that created more chances than him. And I'd be very surprised if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer let him go. Ian saying, no one will give us enough to replace Matic. He gives us good depth and leadership. Keep him and let the contract run out. He's done well for us. I think that's exactly what is going to happen with Nemanja Matic. I think he's just going to run his contract down and he'll leave the club. We'll give him a nice send-off and that'll be the end of it. But United really have to get fucking defensive midfielders, ladies and gents. We know that. What's going on? Still what is going on? But yeah, I don't expect Nemanja Matic to leave. And I don't expect Donny van de Beek to get loaned out at all in the slightest. Obviously, he's been linked with loan moves, linked with leaving. Is he going back to Ajax? Is he going to stay? Would he play under Solskjaer? There's so many questions to ask that have been asked about Donny van de Beek. And for me, I just don't think that he's going to be let go, especially with what's going on with Paul Pogba. Because with Paul Pogba, we don't know whether he's going to be here next year. And even if he's here next year, he might leave the year after for a free. So someone like Donny van de Beek is someone you just do not let go. You do not let him go. Got Monique saying Matic 4-3-3 is a key player in case we don't get a CDM. Sure, he can be a key player, but I just don't think that we can't operate with Matic as a proper 4-3-3. He doesn't have the mobility to play that role on his own. We've got Victor saying Donny wants to stay and fight for his place in the team, and I like that about him, so mature for a young age. Look, he's had a tough 12 months, hasn't he? And especially the Euros as well. He's going to the Euros. Finally, an opportunity for him to play regular football with some of his old teammates like Frankie de Jong, stuff like that. And he gets injured. He misses the Euros as well. He's not had a good 12 months. So it will either make him stronger or it will come back weaker. And I think Donny will come back stronger. I think he's really going to use it to his advantage. Now, James Garner, there's an interesting one. James Garner spent last year out on loan at Nottingham Forest. Did well, impressed. Started the first game of the preseason alongside Dylan Levitt, I think, in the midfield too. Do you think James Garner should be staying at Manchester United this year or should he be loaned out again? You let me know what you think about that in the comments. And I'll be honest, like, we don't really have. I'll tell you what, that's a good point. Matic will follow his dad to Roma. You could easily see that happen. You could easily see that happening. James Garner. It's an interesting one, which I think will actually cause a little bit of debate, conversation, because on one hand, you can certainly see the benefit of keeping someone like Garner in and around this Manchester United team, but at the same time, you could also see the benefit to James Garner as an individual and letting him go out on loan again. Let me see what you think about that in the comments. Got Victor saying, loan out Garner to Derby. Let Rooney coach him. They need players anyway. Poor Derby. Poor Derby. Aaron Ecker, you're asking, what do I think of Basuma as a CDM for United? I think he would be good. I think anybody in that mould would be good for Manchester United. But a question that really sort of got me thinking the other day is, I can't remember who it was that left a comment, but it kind of stuck with me. It's saying, like, there's an obsession with the concept of a DM, and that we're ignoring the fact that it needs to be a CM first and foremost, someone who can progress the ball forward, but at the same time has the ability to break up the play rather than being a pure destroyer like Ndidi. It's an interesting conversation because if you're looking at a CM, there's plenty of other players that can fall into that role that can do a great job for Manchester United. And for me, that's where I see someone like Ruben Neves. And it still staggers me. What I'm going to do about Ruben Neves, by the way, going to try and speak to somebody from Wolves, not actually from Wolves, but a journalist on Wolves or a fan of Wolves that can really explain what he did last year, because so many people say, oh, he can't operate as a defensive midfielder, but the stats don't lie. He does have that to his game. Danny Lyon here. Thank you very much for Super Chat, my friend. Good to see you. Any more news on Sancho? It's frustrating. He has not been announced yet. And have you got any more news on Varane from Spain or Manchester? Please. On Sancho, look, Sancho is done. There's no need to worry about Sancho being done. It's just that we all want the excitement of seeing Sancho announced. That's just the frustration about it. I don't know what the goddamn delay is. I don't know whether it's actually part of the contract, whether it's because they're not really doing the announcement videos properly yet. I don't know what it is, but it's taking a little bit too long. I think we can all agree on that. We've got a comment here from Hassan saying, do I think Ole will ever win the Premier League? I remember what I said plenty, and I always said that I didn't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the manager. I thought Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the manager that brought us back up to being a great club, but wasn't the manager to win us the silverware. I might retract on that comment because everything I'm seeing here with Manchester United, we're all heading in the right direction. We properly are. We're making the right signings. Varane and Sancho this summer now. Maybe get a defensive midfielder in, and this team looks ready to compete for the Premier League. There's no reason why I don't think that he could do that. Now, let me quickly see up here what you all think about James Garner. Let me see here. Loan deal, says Zaylin. You got JD, you're saying loan deal as well. Mohammed, you're saying loan Garner out. When is he going to play at United? Rajan, you're saying goes. James Crockett, you disagree. You're saying he should stay, especially if Matic does go to Roma. A lot of this channel saying Garner loan to Forest. I think the majority of you are correct. I think we're looking at James Garner going out on loan. I don't know where on loan. Obviously, he's already spent a year on loan in the Championship with Nottingham Forest, so maybe a Premier League move would be better for him. Again, I think a $1 million loan fee would be good there. I'm guessing loan fees are just included in loans these days. Matt Hodges, you're saying loan to a Prem side or abroad. As I said, he's had the experience of the Championship, so surely a different experience would help him a little bit more, whether that's the Premier League, maybe someone like Norwich, just newly promoted. Maybe he could do a job there. But remember about a loan spell is that the only time a loan spell is good is when a player gets regular first-team football. There's no point loaning James Garner or anybody out to a team that is just going to let him sit on the bench. It is what it is. Let's see what goes on. But I do agree with the majority of you there. I think he should be leaving on loan. Scott McTominay, he ain't going nowhere. Big old Scott, old Terminator Team 1000. I'm a big fan of Scott McTominay. I'd probably put him in the same category as Fred in the midfield and saying, look, he shouldn't be starting for Manchester United every single week, but we don't have enough quality in midfield. So he does. And that's down to poor recruitment from Manchester United that needs to be corrected this summer. Simple as that. Very, very simple as that. Scott's going nowhere. Hannibal Medford. Now, there's one that you could easily argue that he deserves a loan spell. I think he made his first team debut last year. Hannibal Medford was actually one who apparently we signed instead of Eduardo Camavinga. Apparently, we were looking at both of them when they were 16, but we went for Hannibal instead. And given Hannibal's progression through and his goddamn amazing hair, I mean, look at that. Look at that. Oh, so much volume. It's like a mattress on his head. Anyway, Hannibal Medford is someone you can clearly see benefiting from a loan. But at the same time, and this is where it becomes delicate, because it's not always just about sending everyone out on loan and that's it. Some players can benefit from staying at the club and being in and around, being coached by the Solskjaer, being coached by, Fletcher from Carrick, and being in and around players like Varane and Pogba and Bruno and learning from them every day in your home environment. There's a lot of pluses there. It depends whether you think that he really needs regular first-team football at this age. I think he's just turned 18, hasn't he? So look. 18. I don't know when his birthday is. But yeah, he's 18. And I think Hannibal, let me see what you think in the comments below. And then I'll give my own opinion on it. Let me see what you say first and foremost. As always, if you're new, please drop a like on the video, guys. Please subscribe if you're new. Join. There's a membership now on United People's TV, both on YouTube and on Facebook. On Facebook, there's a video pinned on the top of the page. There's a little support now button. And also on this video, if you look in the description, there's a link. On YouTube, there's a little join button. It's great because, as I said, anything that comes in, and there's so many of you joining, there's so many of you sending super chats in, it's all going back into the channel to make it bigger and better. But let me see what you think about Hannibal. Let me go down to the comments. JJ saying, maybe loan him for half a season, track his progress and squad requirements, and decide if we need to keep him on loan or get him back. What a beautiful hair that man has, says Ian. He does. I don't wish I had that. I'd look ridiculous with that. McTominator should stay. Hannibal deserves a loan. Hannibal stays, says Money, loaned out next season. Then he bams in the goals like Rashi. Let's have a look down here. Got Victor, you're saying loan him. Jaden, you're saying loan. Why not loan Hannibal to a Bundesliga side, says Pradwell. Look, obviously, Jaden Sancho was the trailblazer in that sense of going out to Germany and making a name for yourself. And he's inspired Jude Bellingham to do the same. And there's other players that have followed as well. I don't know whether that would be the best thing for Hannibal, though. Comment here from JC saying, can't win the Premier League. Targets across 85 points, quarterfinals or semi-finals of the UCL. Would that be a good season? I'm not sure, but we've got to target the Premier League if we make these key signings. We need Varane and we need a central midfielder. But let's see what happens. I'll be honest, I think Hannibal is not going to go anywhere. I don't think Hannibal's going to leave. I don't think that it'll be the right move for him right now. I think he's going to benefit from staying at Manchester United just for this season, maybe half a season, maybe see what happens between now and January, and then let him leave in January on loan. Edinson Cavani, he ain't going nowhere. Anthony Martial. Now, this is a question and a conversation. We've been going for nearly an hour now. This is the longest stream I've done. What I'll probably do as well is before the season, I might do a shorter, snappier version of this video, get it down into 10 minutes because I know so many of you love that, and we can just get that into a quick, short video. Drop a like on the video if you'd like to see me do that too. Anthony Martial, would you sell him, yes or no? And if you're selling him, how much are you selling him for? Because looking at the options here, we don't really have that many. Marcus Rashford's going to be out until October, probably. So in that sense, there's absolutely no chance that Anthony Martial is going to be sold. There's no way that Solskjaer is going to lose Rashford until October and then sell Martial and be left with Cavani, Greenwood, Chong, Elanga and Shaw-Tire as his attacking options. I think the fact that Rashford probably has to have this surgery gives Martial another chance. I think in a different context, I think maybe Martial would have been sold, and we wouldn't really have thought about it because of how bad he was last season. He didn't build on that season. That good season he had on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, where he progressed so much. Didn't have that last year. Didn't have it whatsoever. But let me see what you think. We've got Lance, you're saying no. Stay one more season. I think the best is yet to come. Look, I hope you're right, man. And when Rashford scored 23 goals, he scored 22 goals. Both of them were fantastic that year. Matt Edward, you're saying Martial sell. You've got to be able to get 40 million. Mark, you're saying sell. Manuel, you're saying keep Martial at least until the winter transfer window. With Rashi going on the surgery, we will need him. And I honestly think, that makes the difference. Craig Peterson, squad member, how you doing, Craig? Keep Martial before Murphy's Law bites us. Look, I personally think that Rashford's surgery just makes it impossible for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to sell Martial. Even if he wanted to sell Martial, I don't think he could because of Rashford's surgery that's coming up. So I think he's going to be kept. I think Rashford's going nowhere. I think Mason Greenwood's going nowhere. No hair? He's got hair. He's going nowhere, though. Tahith Chong, another one who's got an absolutely ridiculously good set. Look at that. Tahith Chong, where are you? Hannibal. I mean, Hannibal is just way much better. Oof, proper Sancho Bob look over there. And then you've got that stunning bloke. Look at him. He looks like a character from Game of Thrones there. He looks like the many-faced god. Looks like he's going to pull his face off and then just stab me in the neck. I don't think Cavani would do that to me, though. Anyway, Tahith Chong. Got distracted there. I think he spent last year on loan at Werder Bremen, didn't he? I think it was Werder Bremen. Will he leave? You let me know whether Chong should be leaving. I think for me, very simply, yes. Tahith Chong obviously scored in the preseason game against Derby. I'm not really judging anybody on preseason, but I don't think Tahith Chong is good enough at this particular moment in time to challenge for a place in this Manchester United first team. I think a loan spell will serve him well, and I think a loan spell will serve Manchester United well because he goes there, he might come back bigger and better. I just don't think that Tahith Chong will have this opportunity at Manchester United this year. My own opinion. Let's see what's going on there. Ollie said he's going to Birmingham. Yeah, Birmingham has been linked as the biggest and best loan spell option right now for Tahith Chong, and I'll be honest, I think that's the best thing to do. So let's not waste any time. Let's get that straight on the list. Tahith Chong, we all agree on that. A loan move is good. I'm going for a $1 million loan fee. Seems like a reasonable thing to do. Be wrong. Right. But Anthony Elanga and Shola Shoretire, I'll be honest, I'll quickly speak about both of them because I think it's very obvious. I don't think either of those are going to be leaving Manchester United next season on loan. Shola Shoretire is just breaking through. He's raw. He's got great potential, but you can't loan him out just yet. I think I'll put him in the same category as Hannibal. Anthony Elanga, I mean, he has been putting the work in this summer. You see how shredded that guy looks. Absolutely shredded. Anthony Elanga is someone that may get a loan spell. Maybe. Out of these two, I'd probably say he's got more of a chance of getting a loan spell. But again, because of Rashford leaving, I think Solskjaer will try and keep as many attacking options as possible inside the club. And for me, Elanga will be an option that he can have on the bench, that he can go to if he needs to. And certainly with cup games as well. I just don't really think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is, aside from Tahith Chong, I don't think any of these attackers are going to be leaving Manchester United this summer, either on loan or on a permanent deal. If circumstances were different, I think he'd probably consider replacing Anthony Martial. But right now, he's got bigger fish to fry. And I don't think he's going to be selling Martial. Got Hassan here saying, any news, good news about Varane? I wish there was some more good news and updates about Varane. I suppose the good news is that everything still is pointing in the right direction with Varane. But in terms of an update, there's not really an update on Varane. So if I was to quickly go back to this list now, and I was to total this up. So we're getting £2.99 for Phil Jones with a pack of Tang Fastics. Yeah, I'll take that. Easy. So I'm saying that Dalot to leave on loan. Williams, Twanzebe, Pellistri, Garner, and Chong. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 loan deals. 7 if you include David De Gea down there. Players being sold. You've got Lingard and Pereira there. So if I total all this up, what are we getting? 4 mil, 6 mil, 8 mil, 10 mil, 35, 47, 48. Look at that. A nice round 50. I didn't even plan that. Very good, aren't I? So good. 50 mil. I would say that Manchester United could potentially get there quite simply. As I said, I personally think that De Gea will be leaving on loan this summer. I don't think he has any chance of keeping both De Gea and Henderson happy next season. And the only reason Henderson signed a new deal is because he was promised he was going to be Manchester United's number 1. I think that's going to happen. Phil Jones, I'm selling him for £2.99 and a pack of Tang Fastics to get him the head out of the club. Dalot, Williams, Twanzebe, all loaned out. I think they all deserve loan deals. I think Dalot, as I said, question marks about whether he's going to come back. Same with Twanzebe. But as people pointed out to me, Henderson had plenty of loan spells, and look at him now. Lingard and Pereira are the only two players to actually be permanently sold out of this list. And I think 25 mil for Lingard is a very fair price. And I think 12 million for Andreas Pereira might probably not happen. Slightly optimistic there. But then Pellistri on loan, Garner on loan, and Chong on loan. And all of that combined would make 50 million. All of that combined would sign us Rafael Varane. And that is doing all of that, apart from whether you can have the argument really with David De Gea or not. Apart from all of that, you're looking at a set of transfers there that don't take anything away from the strength of this Manchester United squad. If all of those deals were to be completed in that order, not that order, but all of those were to be completed this summer, this Manchester United squad would not be any weaker, and we'd have 50 million for it. And therefore, we can go out and sign another player and make that squad stronger. And look, it's easy enough to say all this because in this sense, it's just like playing FIFA. It's playing Football Manager, isn't it? You look at all the players that you don't want. You look at all the players that you do want. It's easy. Off you go. Problem is, Phil Jones, no one's going to pay his wages. Who's going to pay for Lingard? West Ham. That should go through, hopefully, Pereira. There's a lot of questions. It's always more complicated as to what will happen. But for me, I'll be very happy with that. As I said, the De Gea situation is probably the biggest question mark there, the biggest debate. And Paul Pogba, you can put Paul Pogba on there. I just personally don't think he's going to be leaving this summer. Got Victor. How you doing, my friend? Honestly, man. Big up to you for all these super chats. This looks good, Sam, but there's no way United are going to do that, unfortunately. I would keep Dalot, De Gea, though, and sell Bai or Lindelof. I don't think Bai's leaving this summer. Well, he's definitely not. He's just signed a new contract. And Lindelof, I don't think we'll be getting rid of him. But that's the list there. As I said, what I'm going to do probably next week or the week after, I'll do this video again in a nice, short, compact 10 minutes. And you can all get involved in the comments there. And there's so many people that keep asking where the shorter videos are. The shorter videos will be coming back, and that's why I keep pushing the idea of helping the channel however you can with these memberships here, because I want to bring people in to help make more videos with me. And that's why I'm going to be using the money from these memberships in helping the channel become bigger and better. Got Richard Lowry there saying Pakistan Basics is asking too much. $1.99 and a Mackie D cheeseburger. I'll tell you what, I could do with Mackie D's right now. Am I going to get one? You might have inspired me. No, it's Thursday. Behave. It's always good, though. Always good. Anyway, I'll tell you what. This is the longest stream I've done in a long-ass time. I've enjoyed it, though. I think it's important to have this debate, to get your opinion. As you can see, man, I love engagement. It's a genuinely, properly interactive show where I get your opinions in. I get your comments in. I don't just dismiss comments and opinions. If I disagree with it, I would explain why I disagree with it. But some of you, as I said, there's a few comments there saying, look, Henderson went on loan 4 times. Why can't it happen with Tuanzebe and Dalot? Yeah, you're right. Fair enough. But it's interesting to have this debate. As Manoil there, thank you very much. Enjoyed it as always. Thank you very much, my friend. But as I said, if you can, keep supporting the channel. Keep commenting. Keep subscribing if you're new. Share it. Drop a like on it. If you want to, join, become a member. Join the family. It's great fun to do all these. And as I said, anything that I'm going to be making is going to go back into the channel. But thank you very much for joining today. I'm going to sign off with a lovely different outro because someone said that they want an outro. So I've got an intro and an outro this time. What more do you want? I'll be back here tomorrow at 9:30 as always. And if anything happens across the day, you know where to come first. Yeah, you know exactly where to come first. But anyway, I like there's a comment there coming in from Gary. Have to speak about this before I leave. Thank you very much, Gary. Saying you're right, it wouldn't weaken the team, but we don't have depth as it is. Keep doing these transfers would make it worse. Greenock, Scotland, Forza, Italia. Well, I'll give you that, mate. I will give you that. I bet that was celebrated hard up in Scotland. Greenock, Scotland. On you go, sir. Welcome to the family, Gary. If you fancy it, join, become a member. It's a great community here. I'm looking forward to it getting bigger and better as it always does every single week. But thank you very much for joining in. I'll see you tomorrow, as I always do. Until next time, take it easy.